Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last minute of play in the third period. I have something to start off the show this morning. Sunday morning we are recording on because New Brunswick weather hates us all. So apparently after the Kaylee, help me with this. Zion Williamson blew through his Nike shoes, his Nike basketball shoes, causing him to suffer a knee injury. It was a Duke versus.
I don't remember who they were playing.
Yeah, in the last Duke game, Nike's Nike's stock in their company has dropped $1.1 billion in stock value since that happened.
Well,
goodness,
that sort of follows. So your shoe falls apart.
Yeah, and not just falls apart, like the whole bottom of it blows out.
And it causes a knee injury to an unequivocal first overall pick who's supposed to make you a boatload of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not already signed to a
no
advertise. Oh yeah, because NCAA doesn't allow that.
Yup.
That nonsense. So yeah,
players can't be paid for their labor, Johnny. If we did that, the whole society might collapse.
Yeah. Well, at least Nike can agree on that.
That horn means you are listening to Overtime Radio on CHSR 979 FM in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Thank you all for tuning in this Monday afternoon from 2 to 3, though we are recording Sunday morning because, as Johnny led the show off with, Mother Nature still hates New Brunswick.
Yep.
What does the weather hate us?
Breaking news update.
Yep. What are we supposed to get?
Grass still green, water still wet.
Yeah. What are we even supposed to get?
30 centimeters between now and tomorrow afternoon.
Wonderful. I wonder if that'll be enough for Stu to cancel school for the second time.
I was actually thinking that exact thing.
It definitely won't.
We didn't do it. We weren't doing a Trade Center live because of you guys have classes or other commitments. And I was like, if this snow shuts down the school...
Do we just say screw this episode?
Yeah, because the storm's supposed to be over by noon, but if they shut down the school and you guys don't have classes...
Yeah, we'll brave the storm and come in here and record.
Yeah, just screw it. The storm's supposed to be over by the afternoon.
I might be down for that.
This episode might not even matter.
It might be the lost episode.
Oh, it would be the second lost episode.
Yeah, second lost episode.
The first appearance of NASCAR Mar, still in the wind.
Yeah, you...
by the way, that is now officially his Twitter handle. Follow Matt on Twitter at NASCAR Mar.
Yes. It didn't take him a billion years to get it changed.
No, he did it right away. In fact, he messaged me and said that he'd love to do a bunch more content for the show, and I said that we would see about getting him, having him listed as a correspondent for the show so we can go to Speedway 660 just outside of town here and cover the local races for us.
Cool. That'd be pretty cool.
I've already got it all in the works, man, because we need new content. Because, surprise to our fans out there, I'm going to be doing a lot of calling into the show in the future because I got a new job in Miramichi.
Yep.
So I will now be corresponding from afar for one episode a week. I'll be coming back to do the Monday shows. I'll just be recording them Sunday night, probably.
Yeah. So you're not going to be working nights anymore.
No. Thankfully, I don't have to yawn for half the show.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome.
You've been a trooper with this because I remember some shows we come in here and you're half passing out the entire time because obviously you haven't gotten any sleep in the past 18, 19 hours.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me, we've had ups and downs for it. There was a period of time where me and Sean would record at 10 a.m.
Oh yeah.
So I was on. I go to bed at 11 and wake up at 7. I would be on 18-ish hours without sleeping.
Yep. No.
Well, the more and more we do this, I find the earlier we get.
Which is to accommodate me, which I really appreciate, because, you guys... Well, the thing is, it's mostly Sean that suffers, because I work and you're in here for wake-up.
Yeah, sure. And, also, it's not just to accommodate you, it's also, the best thing for, our class schedules and everything like that, too.
Yeah.
So, this,
And also my work schedule. I don't want to be doing this in the afternoon. It's just too disruptive, right?
Fair. And, that'll all change, depending on, whatever our class schedules are, next... the next fall semester and everything.
Anyway, the point of this meta kind of aside here was that we actually have a bunch of excellent content coming in for you. So we'll talk about some stuff going forward, and we'll see kind of what happens from here.
Yeah. Other than that, we should start off with Sean has the AUS roundup.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. Tommy's basketball hit the court this Wednesday night when they hosted the UMB SJ Seawolves. The women topped their opponents 64-53, followed by a 78-68 win by the men. The women followed that up with a 49-41 win on Saturday against the Seawolves, while the men dropped the matchup 85-67. UMB played some basketball this weekend, where the women topped their two Nova Scotia matchups, topping the St. Mary's Huskies 62-58 and a 62-53 win, topping off the weekend. The men took both their games, edging the Huskies 88-76 and following it up with a barn burner victory 72-70. UMB men's hockey kicked off their postseason with a pair of wins. They took Game 1 against the UPEI Panthers 3-1 on Thursday night and followed it up with a 2-1 overtime victory Friday at the Aiken Center to take a 2-0 series lead heading back to Charlottetown. The Lady Reds crashed with the Tommies on the women's side of the bracket, where the Tommies took Game 1 of the semifinal series 2-1, and that is your AUS ACA roundup.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Before we get into, obviously, we're going to talk the most about like the AUS men's, women's hockey.
You want to talk
playoffs.
about men's basketball?
I do.
You covered it this weekend, right?
Yes, I did. But I covered both men's and women's basketball.
Your excitement. We have a private chat. We've talked about our private chat on the show a few times.
Yeah.
Johnny's excitement about coming in because he got to cover his first buzzer beater might genuinely be one of my most enjoyable moments for this show. He's usually like, I just saw my first buzzer beater.
Yeah.
It's like Johnny's so excited, and Sean's response is like, Joel, just wait for March Madness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you get to see like 7 of them.
So anyways, it was pretty good. Like on the women's side, they played in an all right game, I guess, against St. Mary's. They had like 26 turnovers. So like, even though the fact that they won, of course, Jeff Speedy, who's always a very animated coach after each game, win or lose, wasn't really happy with like the performance and everything like that. Much better performance in their second game. Michaela Dodig is definitely like, if you're going to pick your like captain, I'm not sure if they pick captains for their basketball teams or anything like that.
I mean, I imagine they do.
Yeah, he called her the best point guard in the league because she not only did she put up, I think it was 29 points, 9 of which came off of 3-pointers in the final like 2 minutes or so, also causing Haley McDonald, who is apparently like one of the front runners for AUS MVP for women's basketball, he caused her to commit like 6 turnovers of her own and everything like that. So it was a very impressive night there. There was a very nice a very nice ceremony in between the men's and women's game, the second men's women's game, for all the seniors that were graduating and everything like that.
Because it's senior day, right? Last home game.
Yep. Michaela actually had a great quote saying like, we always say we don't lose on senior night, and they haven't since she has been there and everything. Jane Boyle it was Jane Boyle and Megan Campbell for the women's side. That's their graduates for this season. Boyle, who has had like probably like the most rambunctious, like up and down kind of career with the Reds, because she's been battling knee injuries. She missed most of her third year of eligibility because she tore her ACL, and that's why if you ever watch her play a game, she's playing constantly with like a knee brace and everything like that. And like I've seen her like go down like multiple times like during games, and apparently she does that a lot during practice too. So it's been something she's been battling with a lot. So 2 good hard-fought wins for the women. On the men's side, they put on an absolute masterclass to give St. Mary's Huskies their first loss of the regular season.
Yeah, SMU was undefeated before Friday night, right?
Yep. And it was great because they were actually saying that their coach used the Patriots and Giants game as motivation. The old one where like they...
Yeah, the 18-0 Patriots?
Yeah, 18-1, you mean.
Well, they were 18-0 going into that game.
18-1, yeah. No, that's actually the first game I ever made any money off of. I bet $20 on that game that the Giants were going to win.
Good call.
It was great.
I was barred from ever watching NFL football in my best friend's house.
Oh, why's that?
Because his father was a Patriots fan, and when I saw the Tyree catch, I stopped cheering for the Pats and started cheering for the Giants.
That's hilarious.
And he essentially said point blank that I was not allowed to watch football in his house anymore.
That's hilarious. So anyway, yeah, they really grinded up, played. Even Brett Baker, their head coach, was saying they played a lot of zone defense, especially in the fourth quarter, because they were able to finally jump out to a very sizable lead. They got up by 10 or 11 points midway through the fourth quarter, and then played a bunch of really tough zone defense. It was really good. It looked like they were playing a championship game or something like that. So that was a big win for them. And then the buzzer beater, they got out. They had a really bad first quarter against Acadia, which basically had them chasing to try, and they didn't get their first lead until midway through the fourth quarter, where they went on a 12-0 run or something like that. And then Acadia still came back to tie it in the last minute or two. And then Chris Spurl, they executed a great play, and Chris Spurl hit a jump shot from the baseline and it hit with 0.9 seconds left. So, yeah.
That's not a buzzer beater.
Well, that's okay. Literally, there was one play after that, but still.
Yeah, a buzzer beater means that they get the shot off and the horn goes off when it's in
Kaylee,
the air.
are you seriously going to take this away from me?
Yeah.
I hate you so much right now.
No.
Let me have this.
Let
me have this.
It's fine.
The way the crowd reacted sounded like a buzzer beater, so shut up.
Oh, we'll talk about buzzer beaters in a second, actually, about the UNB and St. Thomas game.
Oh my God.
And the most senseless face-off ever.
Okay. So I guess we'll transition into that now.
Sure. We actually have a bunch to talk about. Actually, let's do men's hockey really, really quickly. UPEI is not supposed to be hanging on to this series, but fret not, Reds fans. It's mostly that their goaltending is bailing them out.
Yeah. Who's their goaltender?
I couldn't tell you.
Matthew Mancina.
Yes.
Mancina?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that because he was the one guy I always used to draft on NHL 15.
Wait, what?
He always had 5 green star potential. That was the best you can get.
How could you draft him on NHL?
That's actually how I know him.
How could you
He
draft
played in
him?
the CHL.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What team do you play for?
Some team out west.
Okay, all right.
I couldn't tell you.
Hashtag
Are we
Eastern
sure
Bounce.
it's the same guy?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I looked it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so pathetic.
It really is.
Is that the first example of the potential ratings from EA Sports games actually panning out in real life?
Well, if he has 5 green star potential, it didn't pan out for him.
Well, okay, in some sense. Whatever.
Eh.
Okay, it's bad. Anyway, so UPEI's goaltender basically stood on his head for the most part.
Yeah, for 2 games in a row. UPEI's already faced over 100 shots 2 games into the season. There's no way it's coming back from Charlottetown.
No. Really great. There was a great fan video that actually got shared by UMB's Instagram account of Simpson's winning goal. It was a nice tip.
Yeah.
Nice tip in the second game. So.
Yeah, posting it to Instagram.
Yep. But yeah, so Reds are pretty much other than the margin of victory, they're pretty much rolling ahead on schedule.
Yep.
I have the other games pulled up here as well for men's hockey. Yeah, St. Mary's beat St. FX 4-2, so that series is 2-0
For the Huskies?
for the Huskies now. Yep. Because they won 3-0. Yeah, they won 3-0 on Thursday.
The other series for the women is currently X won the first game 3-1.
Okay, there hasn't been another one. Yeah.
No, they play Monday.
Okay. So, yeah, 1-0 lead for that. And so UMB and St. Thomas. You guys were at...
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, what angle do we want to take on this?
I guess just generic battle on the hill angle.
I mean, sure, if that's where you really want to start.
I don't know if there's a sufficient angle to take this at.
St. Thomas played like the team that won 13 games in a row, and UNB played like the team that they had at the very beginning of the year.
So not good on the UMB side?
Not great.
Flat.
Not great?
Very, very flat. Almost incapable of getting the puck out of their own zone. Mm-hmm. They got dominated for large swaths of the game. Their one goal was a weird sort of fluke from Stratton.
Hallahan, I think.
Yeah, either way.
Either way, no. It shouldn't have been in that.
It was a weak shot that Clark overplayed, and it just went through the 5-hole. It 100% shouldn't have been a goal.
So, needless to look at the box score, Kendra was named third star.
I'm actually not sure.
I'll double check
John
that.
can double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff swirling around this game that just wasn't great for UNB, was very, very good for St. Thomas. This is the St. Thomas played like the team that's going to win an AUS title.
Yeah.
And contend for a national championship.
You just jinxed it.
Well, maybe.
It's not the first person to say it. Like, it's not the first time we've said it. Like,
I've jinxed him before,
and
so I'll cut you some slack.
UNB didn't play like a team that could beat St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that they can. They've played like it before. Last night was not a good example of that.
no. So just like not able to get out of the defensive zone. Offense, I guess, like, again, having struggles with that.
Well, the thing is, like, they got several very, very good offensive opportunities, and they just couldn't do anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and, like, I don't want to harp on this, but the officiating wasn't great either.
Oh, really?
It was consistently not good, which I appreciate, because at least it's consistent, but it was not very good. Elena Wagstaff gets dumped just on the inside of the Tommy's blue line, open ice, no call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, egregiously no call. Like, there were Tommy's fans saying next to me, like, well, that's a penalty.
Yeah. So, talking about the goal specifically, you said that there was a buzzer beater in this game?
Almost.
Almost, okay.
So what happened was UNB loses the zone. They can't pull Kendra. Gets to the last 30 seconds. They take the zone. They pull Kendra for the 6th attacker. A play happens at the side of the net. Paige Grenier gets the puck in the slot. She takes a whack at it. Pad saved by Abby Clark. Lillian George gets like 3 whacks at it. Can't put it past Clark. Whistle goes. Horn sounds. Crowd celebrates. Everyone's cheering because the game is over. Look up at the clock. 0.2 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, so the horn went prematurely before it actually ran.
The ref blew the whistle before the horn went, but the horn still sounded for the end of the period.
Oh.
So you had to play 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, but the thing that made it annoying was it was 0.2 seconds, but instead of just going to the face-off dot and dropping the puck, the referees conferred for like 30 seconds, then decided, no, the face-off needs to come out of the zone, and made all of the players skate out of the blue line to take the puck drop with literally 0.2 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, just drop it. Yeah. That's always, like, face-offs are always the number one thing in hockey that always tick me off. Like, it seems like it's the one way. Like, I wonder if refs, like, intentionally, like, just mess with players they don't like with face-off, because it seems like that a lot of the time.
Maybe.
It seems just like something that they don't really take seriously, take too long to drop the puck, and someone moves like a centimeter to kick them out and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
We talked to some people after the game, me and Sean. The best one was Abby Clark gave us a bunch of great material talking about the Battle of the Hill and stuff, and we'll play the clip of that interview now.
Feeling a little better after that one.
Yeah.
A little bit more comfortable for sure. That was a tough game to play in for me. Fight the puck a little bit. It's tough when you only get 15 shots, 5 shots a period. So really thankful the girls were flying tonight, and we got the result that they deserved for sure.
What'd you feel the difference was? Like I boil this to size and experience against youth and nerves. Is that too simple?
I think we just have experience. We've been here before. We know what it takes, and they're a new program, and we're a whole different beast. I think they did the work through the first round, but we're a whole other monster. So
Good. That's
yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Tell me about the goal.
I wasn't happy about it. Definitely something that I need to work on myself for sure. But those things happen, and you just got to take it in stride. And
Was it a concentration thing?
I don't think so. I think it just hit the wrong part of my stick going on the way in. And those things happen.
Yeah.
It was on my part, but got to take those things in stride and focus on the next puck. That's all I can do.
How bad did you feel, and then how good did you feel when you scored 2 in a minute and a half?
I wasn't worried.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
really? Okay.
No, I wasn't worried at all. Came in and said, okay, well, 5 minutes to be upset about it. That's it. Let's go. Let's move on. It's done. good goalies have short memories.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't worried. I knew the girls would put the puck in the net. It's never a question for me, so I trust them to do their job.
How did you feel about first team, second team All-Star? Is that anything that bothers you, or?
It was a little disappointing. I thought I had a very good year, and she is exceptional as well. As a fifth-year goaltender, it's tough to see that for sure. But you know what? At the end of the day, that stuff doesn't matter. Winning the AUS championship matters to me. So. Yeah.
So Monday night, same thing. You can expect more of the same.
Oh yeah. And more, I think, for sure. It's definitely tougher to play in their barn. It's a little wider. It's a little bigger. They got a little bit more room to work with in there. But I think we're ready, 100%. We're gonna have a good rest up tomorrow, get some mobility in, a good rollout, and we'll be ready to go.
How'd you feel about the atmosphere tonight? Fun game to play?
Yeah, it's always fun. There was a lot of people here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that can't look up. I don't like to see how many people are here. I focus on what's on the ice. So,
Did you hear it though?
You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can definitely feel it. It's a great atmosphere. It's really great for the community, and I'm so happy to see it for Fredericton, for women's hockey. It's awesome. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, but Abby's a great quote. Like, you heard it there. And even in that interview, you heard her say, you know, she felt sort of slighted that she was the second team All-Star, not the first team All-Star, and that, you know, Kendra got first team All-Star over her, and, you know, to her, she won the first salvo.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, we all talked to Peter Murphy, and we're not going to include the interview for him, but for him, the individual battle, the Battle of the Hill stuff doesn't matter, but for Abby, there's sort of pride on the line. Like, as a fifth-year player, losing out, you know, essentially goaltender of the year to Kendra.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, was rightfully deserved for Kendra. Like, that's not me taking anything away from her.
Yeah. Before we'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. Just to go through like the actual like rest of the goals and everything.
Okay.
Like
so
that, since you guys were actually in attendance.
Yeah. So we'll go through them one at a time. The first goal, which was the UNB goal, was a weak one by Sean as the box scorer. There was it Hallahan or Stratton?
It was Hallahan.
Hallahan.
Yep.
She takes a
From
shot
Keller.
On the power play from the circle, and it looks like someone's going to tip the puck in front, except their stick gets lifted. Clark sort of overplays. Maybe she's playing the tip, and it kind of squeaks through the stick and the 5-hole and just into the net. Like, it was an extremely soft goal, to the point that, like, she scored and the horn went, and we were all kind of in the crowd like, what?
So there had to be like an extra face-off taken.
No. That was 30 seconds left in the first.
Oh, okay.
And then in the second period, St. Thomas gets two of them. The first one is
Ford.
Stephanie Ford comes across the blue line. She gets to the high slot and just wires one, and it's just bar down. Like, you hear the clang off the crossbar and into the net. Like, zero chance for Kendra.
Yeah, just a well-placed shot.
She also said after the game that she was screened a little bit and just felt more comfortable, like, dropping into the butterfly, and got beat high. It happens. It'll happen to the best goalies in the world, right?
For sure. And then shortly after that...
so less than a minute and a half later, Alicia Gilbert comes in for St. Thomas, and Reese Lombaugh makes the decision to play the body instead of playing the puck, which is a fine decision. You can play that a couple of different ways. But if you're going to play the body, there's something you have to do to the player you're playing against.
And that's to take them out of the play.
And she doesn't. Yeah. Gilbert slips the check, and in slipping the check causes Reese to go crashing into the board, so, you know, effectively takes one of the two defensemen out of the play. And when she goes to make the centering pass, it hits a UNB player and ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, and that's all.
And then Clark's perfect from there for the remaining 8 or so shots she faced.
Yeah, you just got to test. You got to test her more than that for sure.
Yeah, you absolutely do. It's not enough to put like 15, 16 shots on her.
Yeah.
Especially when Kendra faced, 32? 33?
Something like that. Yeah.
Sean can
easily.
double check the box score really quick.
Yeah, so, like...
We are going to have Kendra on to discuss her Rookie of the Year win and stuff sometime this week based on how the series goes.
28 saves.
Just waiting to hear back from Andy Campbell.
Yeah. And... But yeah, so Kendra, like, getting back to that whole kind of conversation, I think it is, like, it makes a lot of sense that Kendra was named First Team All-Star along with Rookie of the Year. Like, of course, St. Thomas has Emily Alexic, who was the top defensive forward. there's a lot more kind of like defensive structure.
Do they have a defenseman on the first team All-Star team, St. Thomas?
Woods.
Yeah, Alex Woods.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have a pretty solid like defensive structure as like
Yes, and a lot of this year was Kendra taking care of Kendra because two of UNB's best defensemen, Hannah Green and Jenna McLean, are both offensively minded defensemen.
Yeah.
And you know what though, like I don't buy into the whole idea of experience versus like non-experience, I guess.
You don't think that there's a veteran presence difference in St. Thomas?
Well, I see. I don't buy into it, but UNB genuinely look flustered after giving up those 2 goals.
Yeah.
And like St. Thomas is a team that will, like when they strike in bunches, and you have to be careful to not let it get away from you. And unfortunately, they let it get away.
And like you could tell that St. Thomas sort of had a game plan too, because when we got to about 10 minutes left in the third period, they stopped attempting shots on Kendra Woodland. They would get the puck into the offensive zone. They would pin it against the boards. They'd force UNB to take it from them. They'd strip it from UNB. They'd pin it against the boards. They spent like a good solid 4 minutes in the offensive zone, like straight, where they didn't make a single attempt on net.
They were just kind of playing with their food at that point.
Well, they were up by 1, and they didn't need to test Kendra because UNB wasn't testing Abby Clark.
Yeah. And you have to do that because, like, you got to think, like, not only do you have, like, a great caliber goaltender there, she's, like, as you heard, like, in the interview, she's a fiery individual. And, like, you want to think, like, this is her last year.
Yeah, she's done after this season.
Yeah, you think, like, okay.
And so is her backup, Taylor Cook. So
yeah, so this is, like, your last shot at this. And you know that you're capable of it, so you know.
And she was on the roster that lost to St. Mary's a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
when they had league MVP Kelty Apperson on the roster.
Yeah, so she
couldn't get it done then.
Yeah, so she's gonna know, like she knows what it takes, and she's gonna be hungry for it. Probably, like, would you say like she probably would be one of the more hungrier players on St. Thomas for sure.
I think there's a couple of players there that are legitimately looking at professional hockey as a possible future for them, and I think all of those players could, because they remember the loss.
Yeah.
Like, they've seen Kelty go on to play for the Inferno, but she doesn't have an AUS championship in her trophy case, and I feel like they don't want that to happen to them.
For sure. And and again, like, this team is capable. Like, they had that big winning streak. They this is their time.
The last time we saw a team win 11 games in a row or more was St. Mary's, and they won an AUS championship. And I think they made a national championship bronze medal game too, but I don't think they won a medal that year.
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah, so it's cup or bust.
Yeah, this is the thing is, we talked about this. There are 2 hockey banners that hang in the Grant Harvey Center. One's a Maritime Collegiate Hockey Championship from 60-61. One of them's an AUS championship from 2000 and 2001.
Yeah.
Those banners are awfully lonely.
And like there have been teams that have been deserving of them, but just didn't get it done.
Come up short. And I think that this roster doesn't want to come up short. But I think that, and I know that they're not looking ahead. The thing that I think makes this roster so dangerous is they're not looking past the AUS championship. They could. Like, Gardner's UNB men's team isn't looking at an AUS championship.
Yeah.
They don't care if they win it. They're looking at the national championship.
Because they already have a bunch of AUS championships.
Yeah.
This is like St. Thomas is definitely in for, no, we want all the marbles.
Yeah.
We want the AUS champ. If we can come away with 2 banners, you're damn well we're going to come away with 2 banners.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think it's scary because this team's not looking past the AUS championship. I don't think they're looking past each individual game because they had a case a couple years ago where they had a first round bye and X was the 3rd seed and X came into their wheelhouse and crushed them.
Yeah. No.
So they're not looking past anybody. They're going to take UNB to task. They're going to take X or St. Mary's to task. And once they have their AUS banner, they're going for a national championship.
It's kind of a really good thing because like this team like has a bunch of players and like this whole franchise, like there's no kind of like clout you can kind of float on. There's like you want to talk about maybe one of the more humble franchise
championship contenders.
Yeah, humble championship contenders, or just franchises in general. Is St. Thomas because it's
their only program that plays top tier sports. All of their other programs play at the collegiate level.
Yeah, so they still feel like they're regardless of whether they won 13 straight, it could have been 20 straight. They probably still feel like the underdog in a lot of situations.
And I think they are. Because you have to think about it. If you look at the history of AUS hockey, it's dominated by the same teams.
Yep.
If you go look at the MVP page on the AUS website for women's hockey, there's only one MVP that doesn't come from Moncton, St. Mary's, or X.
Really?
And it's Kelty from 3 years ago.
No.
She's the only one. If Moncton, X, and St. Mary's have dominated the conversation for women's hockey in AUS. And none of those teams have a national championship, by the way. I think St. Mary's and X both have one bronze medal at nationals, and that's the best AUS appearance ever.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like, so would St. Thomas be the first AUS team to win? Really?
Yep. It is. You have to remember, it's the strongest. AUS is arguably the strongest conference in men's hockey. It's the weakest conference in women's.
Until, like, maybe now.
Maybe now.
Like this.
But even then, I don't know if the conference is strong enough top to bottom to compete. I just think that St. Thomas is strong enough to compete.
Yeah.
And I think that people who are writing them off because they don't have enough secondary scoring, or, can Abbey continue to carry them against higher competition, are seeing that, they have it.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine, there's so many, like, the chips are, like, stacked on their shoulder.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they're, like, out of all, like, the powerhouse, like, what the power teams in the AUS, like, imagine them to be the first to actually get a U Sports championship.
And I think this year, and I don't think they would ever admit it, but I think Peter Murphy understands this too, is you know Atlas, the legend of Atlas, the man who carries the world on his back.
Yes.
That's St. Thomas just winning an AUS banner. But the thing is, this team is good enough to win a national championship and has the possibility of doing something no other AUS team has done before them. Yeah. So not only are they carrying the planet, people are busy covering the planet in, like, lead.
Yeah. And I think, like, I think that plays definitely to the advantage of St. Thomas, because, like, the humbleness is, like, an overlooked thing in sports. Like, when teams can get up on their high horse and they can get caught off guard sometimes, where St. Thomas doesn't really have any reason to be like that. Like, they have so many things, like, just dangling in front of them that they could easily get, but they know, like, what it takes, and that it can go wrong at any moment.
I think that the program's motto says this best. I had never seen it, that they have a plaque in their training room with the program's motto for the season. Yeah. And Sean's seen it before, because Sean typically does our interviews with St. Thomas coaches, and I typically don't. But I saw it for the first time the other day, and I think it sort of encapsulates them. Is in their workout room, there's a sign that says, St. Thomas women's hockey. Today I'll do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't.
Wow. That's...
Yeah.
And
sums it up.
We're talking about a national championship contending team. That motto, they're talking about more than just working out in the workout room. They're talking about doing what previous St. Thomas teams couldn't accomplish and getting that banner and contending for a national championship, something that even other AUS teams can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's a really good culture around the team. And I think that's going to play to their benefit down the stretch here.
Yeah.
Is that they're a hardworking team, very blue collar, willing to go and dig pucks out of the dirty areas. But at the same time,
the high-end skill is there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a team of 20 Brad Marchands.
That's not a great... That's a bad reference.
Sean, come on. We were on such a great roll.
But you know what I mean, right?
No, I do
Highly
not.
skilled players who get under your skin.
Okay. There are
way better options to choose than Marchand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's inherently dirty, and I don't think you mean that.
Yeah. It's
Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, I like that.
How about the pest for your team, Nazem Kadri? I think that's an even better comparison for it.
But the thing is, like, the high-end skill in this team is there. There were 2 different moments in the game where Lauren Henman deked out 3 or 4 reds and just couldn't get it past Kendra.
Twice.
Yeah.
Didn't you do that twice?
Yeah, twice.
Yep.
And, like, the thing is, high-end skill exists in this league. We saw Lily George almost do it twice, too, to, like, again, best team in the conference, made, like, 3 or 4 Tommies look like chumps. Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, I was there with a friend of mine who attended UNB, was there cheering for the Reds, and turned to me and said, man, it's going to be a shame that she's graduating. And I turned to him and I was like, she's a freshman.
Yeah.
You get her for another 4 years after this.
3.
You have 5 years of eligibility if she wants it.
Oh, okay. That's
she can
true.
take a fifth. Which, given the direction the program is going, might mean an AUS title or a national championship. She's probably taking a fifth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, that's definitely like UMB's like got a pretty solid foundation in her to build off like for the next half decade, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think that because St. Thomas has enough individual high-end skill to win a game that way, and Abby is so good. Like, Abby and Kendra finished, like, in, like, the top 5 or top 7 best goaltenders in the country across, 50 programs. And that's not counting the fact that Alberta ran a 3-goalie rotation for a chunk of this year.
Yeah.
So, like, some of their goalies didn't play the volume of those two. Like, Abby's, like, a top 5 goaltender in this country.
Absolutely.
That's scary. If Henman breaks an entire defense and scores 1 goal, you might win a game that way.
Absolutely. Like, it's a team like St. Thomas hasn't really like done like had to rely on goaltending the way UMB kind of has.
But they
like,
could.
They could. Yeah. Like that's always thing is like always have good goaltending not because you need it, but just because you can.
Be polite, be efficient, have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
And if you happen to not show up that night, have just a plan B in your back pocket that could absolutely sicken another team.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be good. So when's the next game of the season?
Both AUS women's semifinal series continue on Monday.
Monday. Okay.
We're both at 7:00, and we might know our finals matchup after that. It might be St. Thomas, St. FX.
Yeah. Are you guys are calling that game?
Yeah, we will be calling that game for UNB.
Yeah, potentially your guys' last.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it is because we think Bell gets the finals.
Bell is going to get the finals. So.
We think. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. How have you guys found your experience doing that this year?
Awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Me and Sean have had multiple moments where they've come to pay us for doing the broadcast, and we turn to each other and we go, right, we get paid.
Yeah.
This is a job.
Yep.
What do you think that surprised you the most about it?
It's actually harder than you think.
It's so hard. You don't have an appreciation for it until you do it. Well, like me and Sean, it took us 8 takes to get a demo reel that we were comfortable sending in to try to get the job. And now that I've broadcast 14 games.
Yeah.
Well, no, 15 games. You know, you have a very different appreciation for it. And it's tough now to the point that it's still difficult to not make mistakes. You have to get used to the way things are. And, like, Sarah doesn't make it easy because she rolls her lines a lot. So, like, you can't get comfortable and, like, oh, well, I know that these 2 players are on the ice. So, obviously, the player who I haven't really identified is kind of skating in the background is clearly X person because then, suddenly it's not.
Yeah, for sure. I bet it, like, do you guys, like, how much of an attachment has that gotten you guys to this team?
I think the biggest joke that I have about it is I'm a St. Thomas alum. So I do want St. Thomas's women's hockey program to succeed. I have a lot of emotional investment in this team. I've followed it for years. Me and Sean have traveled to AUS championship games in other cities and likely will this year as well. That I turned to a friend of mine and I said, I've wanted to bring a crowd sign to every single Battle of the Hill this year that says I hope both teams have fun.
Yeah. Didn't you do that to the one that we were?
No, I didn't actually bring the sign.
Okay.
I don't want to root for one team over the other because I do have an attachment to UNB. And I think my attachment to the Reds also comes from the fact that I kind of know these girls too because, we talk to them after the game and they come in and Sid in particular always asks us, well, how is it in the booth? How's it going? Like takes a genuine interest in us as her team's broadcasters.
Yep.
And I think that forges a very different kind of attachment as one that you have as a fan. I'm a fan of St. Thomas women's hockey. I sort of feel like I'm a part of UNB women's hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to think like they kind of have to care because like especially if they're from Ontario or from BC, like you guys are kind of giving the context to what their girls are doing, what their women are doing over. Their daughters are doing over here, and like that's the only way they can watch them because they're on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Or in another country entirely. depending on, I'm not sure if they have any outside
They don't,
recruits.
but I mean, like, those players do exist. Like Rita Dorofieva, who plays for St. Thomas, she's from Russia.
Yeah.
So if her families are tuning into Battles of the Hill that are hosted at Aiken, we're their connection to their daughter from, a continent away.
Even if it is just like an entirely different language, that's all they really get because they don't have like simulcasts in any other language.
Yeah.
Well, and it's almost like when we first started doing this, when people listen and say, "You guys sound great," it's like, do we?
Yeah.
Like,
Ryan Howard from Against the Mat comments all the time. Like, I'll go on Against the Mat periodically as a guest, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I listen to your coverage all the time. You're so much better than like 90% of other broadcasters." And like he's even said to me like, I would rather listen to you guys than the men's team that they have on, or even some professionals. And I'm just like, wow, man, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
no, like really.
No, it's been great. I just finished writing like the recaps for the last my last recaps for like UMB athletics and everything like that. Being able to cover like all those sports like soccer. I was trying to think how many sports I've covered, like soccer, hockey, basketball, volleyball, 4 different sports. Like volleyball, I had to like kind of like the first couple games, like I had to like relearn like the rules and everything like that from like whatever I learned them in like junior high gym class or something like that.
Well, that's my thing is like I realized that I'm going to Miramichi, but I think I'm going to try to come back for at least a couple of days when the U Sports curling championships are here.
Yeah,
because I used to curl. Like that's a sport that's always been a huge part of my life, and I would sort of like to be part of that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like you do kind of get like I don't have like the kind of like individual team connection because like I'm always seeing like different faces every single time where you guys get to like have a really in-depth be at every home game and calling it and that sort of thing. But like even like just like talking with like there's usually like similar like media people in the booth and everything like that. And like I've called a lot of like basketball games, so some of them have started to kind of like recognize me and everything like that. But
broadcasting is the ultimate leap of faith. Because you don't know how good you are at it until you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think like Matt, who we've had on as a guest a few times, is a perfect example of it, where he honestly didn't think that he would be capable of coming on the show and sounding intelligent. Everyone has their own hang-ups. Like he's even mentioned, worries about how, he has a speech impediment. Yeah. But it doesn't change the fact that when he talks about stock car racing, he knows more than the average person, enough that, I took STS, which if anyone ever asks is a terrible garbage degree and no one should take it. Okay. But one of the key tenets of STS as a degree is that there's a value of knowledge that doesn't have to come from being educated. Mm-hmm. You can learn things practically. You can learn things by doing or by being involved in it without having to have book knowledge of it, and that information has a value too. Matt has that about NASCAR. I always used to think I had it about hockey, but I genuinely feel like I really have it about hockey now. And I was even saying to Sean at the game last night, when I go and watch hockey games casually as a fan, I see them very differently now.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And it's very, very difficult to not do my job under my breath.
Yeah. Even when I just from covering being in the media side of covering sports, because I never this job doing the recaps has been my first leap into that. Even if I've gone to a couple games just as a fan, and you're thinking I'm always it heightens your senses, and it's not something you can turn off anymore, because and even through doing this show and everything like that,
you become more adept, and then you can't not see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of, I'm not sure if it makes it more fun or less fun. I think it's a little bit of both, but yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, just sometimes I just want to watch a game and maybe kind of shut off and not think about it so analytically. But then again, we do this show, so
yeah,
yeah, you can't help.
Overthink about sports, never.
Yeah. Maybe I need to take up watching darts or something like that. Just to
all right,
myself.
we've waxed nostalgic for too long. What's next?
Still. So I guess we should probably just run through a couple of quick things, a couple NHL trades. We've got about 20 minutes left here. I guess 15 minutes. So we have a date for Space Jam 2.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah, with LeBron James, July 16th, 2021, which is...
Oh, wait, I was wrong. I could care less. Then you said LeBron James. Then I couldn't care less.
Okay. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I think that's the first, like, movie I ever, like, remember watching. Like,
I referenced it at the Tommy's game last night, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, because St. Thomas was dominating UNB and the shot counter kept going up. And I said to my friend who was sitting to my right, who is the UNB graduate, and said, it reminds me of that scene where the monster is scoring on them. It goes 2, 4, 6, then the wheel spins and eventually gets to, and then it just changes to the words, wow, this is kind of one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there was a point in that game where the shots were 11-1 for UNB.
Yeah.
And St. Thomas had just gone through a power play and not recorded a shot on goal.
Jesus. DeRozan has his return to Toronto spoiled.
Has his pocket picked by Kawhi at the dying seconds of the game. Toronto wins.
It just had to be that way, though.
So perfect.
Yeah. Robert Kraft continues to be a clown.
Yeah, so he got dinged for at least soliciting prostitution. From what we've gathered, it was from a prostitution ring bust that was done in Florida. He might be involved in, like, illegal prostitution rings. That would be a pretty rough hit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do you think he goes to jail?
I'm not speculating on this till we have more information.
That's fair. Luongo passes Ed Belfour for is it third?
Ties him for third all-time in wins
Ties him.
at 464.
Yep.
Nice first ballot.
Yep, absolutely. Connor McDavid has a suspension that the Oilers are arguing for some reason.
Except McDavid's already admitted fault, so they should just shut up and let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they haven't. They came out with the statement, and then it was. It came out that McDavid reached out to his former teammate Jordan Eberle, who he said I'm sorry for doing that to Nick. Is he okay? Like, just checking in on him, and they haven't said anything from that since. So probably like that, McDavid shut them up for them. So. Anyway,
good for him. We complain about this all the time. Why don't players ever come clean for their own bad attitudes? McDavid's a captain, and he just admitted that he behaved like a goon. We should be praising this. There's not enough good media around this. There's a lot of why would McDavid admit?
Because that's
honor and integrity. Isn't that what you always complain we don't have in this league? Especially old hat type critics, tightening their ties, like, let's not have fun. Where's the honor and integrity in my NHL?
Yeah, because they're too focused on the fact that there's not enough grit or fighting or anything like that. So.
McDavid showed grit and then admitted that he showed a little too much grit and that he deserved to be suspended. And that should be commended as a behavior. Too many times do we see players try to get out of what they've done.
Yeah, it's been Tom Wilson. It's been discussed. I've heard from a few low key kind of sources. I guess mainly Adam Wilde from the SDP and everything like that. That if there was an award if the NHL gave an award for captain of the year,
they do.
Does it?
Mark my State Leadership Award.
That's got to go to McDavid this year.
I don't think it's automatically captain, though.
It's captains.
Is it automatic? You have to be a captain?
I think there's weird caveats for it where I think officially I think teams without a captain get to nominate someone, but I'm pretty sure it's captains.
Yeah.
Because I know that Derek Englund won it last year.
Oh,
by the way, make Englund your captain already. God damn. Put the C on the jersey, Vegas. I'll buy one.
Yep.
Reformed goon turned into all-pro defenseman Derek Englund.
Yeah, surprisingly. But yeah, McDavid definitely gives it. To think about the absolute carnival, most teams with bad management don't have the luxury of having leadership to back it up, and McDavid has. He has led on the ice, statistically.
And now off it. And now unequivocally, here, if anyone ever says, well, what's your example of McDavid being a strong leader? Here it is.
Yep. Play any post-game press conference ever by McDavid, and you literally get it.
By the way, the gif of him eating popcorn in the press box from the game last night's hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just sitting there scarfing down a bag of popcorn.
Yeah. But you got to think, even when there was a couple times he came out and he was really fiery and he was calling out teammates. He did it in the classiest of ways. He's just like, hey, I'm not going to berate you or slander you, but I'm your captain. Like, this is my room, this is my team.
And he's still so young.
Yeah.
He's like, what, 21?
21, yeah.
Yeah, we are all older than Connor McDavid is right now. And I don't have, like, a percentile of the kind of class that Connor McDavid has. And to think about all the media pressure and everything like that, and, like, it's, like, he's basically taking every piece of criticism, especially the stuff that he hasn't deserved.
Yeah.
And hasn't broken his stride.
Grace.
Yep. Absolutely.
We forgot to bring it up again during the UNB St. Thomas stuff because we lost our original recording. That footage. Jen Bell is shut down for the season.
Oh, yeah. So she took...
she was given permission to return to training by her doctors, said, only go 70%, you're still recovering. She was getting ready for the AUS Track and Field Championships this weekend, and when doing a practice toss, she re-injured herself, so she's done for the season.
Yeah. And what was her injury again?
It was her knee.
Her knee, yeah.
And she's just done.
So she wasn't even able to compete at track
No,
and field.
she was at Grant Harvey last night. We talked to her in person. She told us what happened.
Yeah. So that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, and it's frustrating too because because it happened so late in the season, she's not eligible for a medical red shirt, so she's just done. She set an AUS record for the shot put this year, and she won't get to go to nationals, and she won't get another shot. Like that,
it's awful.
Like I genuinely felt so much sympathy for her.
Yeah.
In that one moment, where she's also been like one of the people that's been very much on our side.
Yeah.
In this entire thing, so.
No, that's I don't really even know what to say about that. That's just hard to hear. It's
also hard to hear because she's literally a friend of the show. She does interviews for us. She checks in on us. We talked to Andy about having her on after the season was over.
Yeah.
We wanted to kind of share in her endeavor and everything, and it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. It's how I imagine any like reasonable broadcaster feels about their local athletes.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing you have to take through that, and like it makes things like what you see, all the shenanigans and like very disgusting kind of behavior towards paying players for like NCAA and like other like athletes at the collegiate level, is like they're still putting their bodies through the same wear and tear, and we need to appreciate that more. And like that's a prime example of someone who
and I want to specify, UNB didn't mistreat her injury. They gave it the most possible care.
Absolutely.
Had her rest extra time, made sure to go through all of the rigors of it. We're just saying that when we talk about how we feel college athletes maybe deserve to be paid, this is the kind of thing we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, not even paid, like appreciate. Let's start there. Like, and like like if you're just a college level athlete, like you don't get like your name up in lights or anything like that, or like the
not in Canada. In the U.S., some of them do.
Some of them do, but in Canada and
UNB led all women's hockey attendance with an average attendance of still less than 500, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, led the conference in women's hockey attendance.
Yeah, but no, it's like she gave it all, and like again, it's something that's kind of glossed over is that like you do all this while still like taking classes and everything like that and handling the school, which is not easy. Like
you lose all your weekends to travel for athletics.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're doing everything. You literally like from the time the school year starts to when it ends, you don't get a day off.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate to see. And like all the best to Jen Bell. I'm not sure if she's planning to pursue athletics outside.
I don't know
that.
either.
But in any other athletic or any life endeavor, we wish her the best.
Yeah,
for sure. So we got about like 4 minutes to go over the trades that happened for NHL.
Yeah, we spent way too much time on AUS today, didn't we?
It's okay. I kind of wanted to spend a little extra time since we were kind of like
playoffs.
I think we could sum this up pretty quick though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Duchesne trade's good. I don't get the Dzingel trade.
It was kind of uncalled for.
Yeah, so just running through, Duchesne and Bergman go to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and coming back for Ottawa is Vitaly Abramov, Jonathan Davidson, a 2019 first, and a conditional 2020 first, which is if Duchesne re-signs with Columbus.
Which isn't bad.
It's two maybe prospects that are some pretty heavy maybes.
Yeah.
And essentially it's them getting a first-round pick back because they don't have one because their first-round pick belongs to Colorado.
Yeah. Dzingel in a 2019 7th to Columbus.
Specifically, Calgary's 2019 7th.
Yeah.
So, a 7th round pick that's going to be at the end of the last round of the draft.
Yeah. And coming back is Anthony Duclair, who has basically been run out of town by John Tortorella.
And the fact that he's played like a bum.
2019 second round pick and a 2021 second round pick as well.
Again, they're literally using Columbus to recover the picks they gave to Colorado.
Yeah.
And I know I'm seeing a lot of Ottawa fans talk about how this is doom and gloom for the franchise. You're right.
Yeah.
Pull it down to the studs and rebuild.
Yeah.
Also, why wouldn't you just do this all in one go?
Take the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
I think they should try to keep Stone. I personally think that with the season he's having, you want to try to build around it, but apparently he's profoundly unhappy.
Oh, really?
I mean, I would be. I don't know about you guys.
I was seeing a thing that said the door's not shut to him re-signing in Ottawa, but it looks pretty grim.
Yeah. Well, they've barely even talked about a contract extension. They were kind of focusing on handling Duchesne, and maybe you should have focused on the guy that you've kind of grown yourself. Probably the only bright spot from a homegrown standpoint in the franchise, but instead you had to deal with the mess that you made yourself and kind of ruined that for yourself.
Me and Sean were sort of wondering if maybe Panarin was in play to the Senators for a little while, and then if the report came out that he didn't want to sign in Ottawa.
Yeah. Neither of them are moving now. Panarin and Bob are not moving now.
No, Columbus is all in for a cup run here.
Yeah.
Which I want to point out, me and you have been arguing against, but me and Sean have predicted for months that they were going to go all in.
Look, if they go out in the second round, it looks kind of bad.
Not if they re-sign Duchesne and Dzingel.
It's true, but that's a lot of maybes up in the air. Well, Panarin, it's more if you can, if that convinces Panarin and Bobrovsky to resign.
I don't think Bobrovsky's resigning. He's gone.
Yeah,
Panarin has already said that Columbus is still in the running. He's also said Vancouver's in the running, and I don't know how much of that is because Pettersson is there, but I'm willing to bet it's quite a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, there's still that's still a lot of maybes. But hey, I will admit to being slightly wrong on this, and hey, Columbus, you got balls. And with that, one last thing, Zuccarello to Dallas for a conditional second and third.
I don't get what the Rangers are doing.
Yeah,
I just don't understand it. You now have you don't even have a secondary piece for a build anymore, and you can be well, we're gonna build for Henrik Lundqvist. He's 36.
Yeah, that's very kind of shit.
You've got one top tier defenseman on your entire roster in Mark Stahl.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of gotta they're kind of playing too much in the middle. They either have to go completely one way or completely.
Well, the issue is tearing the team down to the studs means moving nothing because the team's already in the studs.
Yeah.
But you have nothing in the cupboard to build from. Me and Sean were talking about who's the best player left on that roster now. Brady Shea. You can't build You can't build a team around Shea.
Yeah.
Is it Benajad?
First round pick next year.
Still not good enough.
If you're that bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all the time that we have on the Overtime Radio Show here on CHSR 979 FM. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Friday from 2 to 3. Obviously, like I said, we couldn't do a full Trade Center type update because of the impending storm, but we will cover that all on Friday. And in the upcoming weeks, we have a bunch of intentions to have some special guests on, so we'll let you know what's going on there as soon as we know.